What is going on, YouTube? And today I'm going to be talking about a very serious problem, which is the Democratic and the Republican Party. Surprise, surprise, I'm talking about politics again. It's very annoying. I'm a child, and I'm talking about politics. But here's the problem that I'm having, okay? So let me get into the video here. Let me just make the transition unsmooth, and let's just get right into it instead of just saying let's get right into it. So, a couple days ago, I think about a week ago so far, there was another shooting. There's probably been another one as of recently, but I haven't been able to see it because it hasn't hit media attention, and I keep trying to search for them. But what I'm going to mention here is Texas Senator Ted motherfucking Cruz. I want you to see this video because I want you to realize how much of a fucking piece of shit you are, you stupid white supremacist cum-guzzling couch potato. Seriously, question yourself on the ideologies that you're saying out loud, which you probably already do, but want to watch kids get killed clearly as you're telling them to leave out of one exit. From a school that is involved in a shooting. You are a fucking idiot. You are either literally mentally retarded and can't handle the concept of reality, or you just want to watch people die, which I think is the case. You're signed in with the NRA. So you're not going to tell people to, finally get rid of guns. I do agree the Democratic push to get rid of the guns now finally is not really a good thing, but also, if everybody in America lost their privilege to weapons, then there would be no guns people can kill each other with, and all the crime being committed would have to be necessarily specifically with melee weapons. And that's going to drive a lot of people away from wanting to kill people. A lot. Psychology proves it. But that's the one field you don't research, despite claiming that we need to do more research on psychology when you don't even implement it into your schools, etc. So, let me go on with this. 1. The cops stood outside of the school for about an hour and 12 minutes before they decided to enter, and when they entered and got close to the shooter, they called out for a kid if they were in the building and said that we are the police, we're here to help. The kid immediately started crying for help and got shot and killed. The reason why the cops did that was for the ability to find out where the shooter is by listening to the gunshots and the sound of the child crying. They baited a kid into his death. 2. Ted Cruz supporting the police, along with giving the NRA money to be able to help produce more weapons and getting more money from the NRA to Ted Cruz. And also, the fact that Ted Cruz is pushing for Home Alone style booby traps. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, actually, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're gonna go around and you're gonna cause, like, an axe to swing down from the ceiling. Oh, okay, but what if a child accidentally steps on that? So are you going to make it that we have to put up the tripwires and stuff like that to do that when the school shooter's in the building and we're all locked up in our rooms? Because guess what? If somebody finally has the chance to escape, they're going to step on that wire. And they're going to die because they wanted to leave from a school shooting. And you're only asking for one exit, which means there's only going to be one place that is booby-trapped. Are you going to make the windows pop offable like the school buses have, so that way if there's a fire inside of the building, you can pop them off? No, you're not. Because you're not thinking about the fire. You're thinking about the possible firing squad that you're going to turn that one man into when it comes down to the amount of kids he's going to be able to kill. If you make one room, if you make one entrance into the school and one exit, and that exit is the same thing as the entrance. So here's the school foundry, right? It's boxed up like this. It comes all the way down, does that, right? Here's the entrance, comes down, building built like couple of classrooms, then you go down, couple more classrooms, then you go down a little more classrooms on both sides. Guess what you're causing? All of the people to have to leave through that one building. Guess where the shooter's at? Right here, outside of the building, shooting at the kids inside of the school trying to leave. You're a fucking idiot. Or you're a supremacist of any kind. You're probably a fascist too, at this point. And yes, all those words have lost their meaning. I do agree with that, because the Republicans have been throwing it around left and right, calling everybody that they see pedophiles, including people like me, despite me basically being a child. I don't have sexual interest in a kid. That's fucking disgusting. I think anybody who's over the age of 20 and dating somebody who's under 18 is fucking disgusting. That should be common thought, but according to Ted Cruz and Matt Gaetz, no, etc. One of the things that I'd like to mention is the fact that most Republicans at this point, because they have so much ties with the NRA, don't want to secure the problem and take care of it because they don't want to have to lose their precious little guns. Okay, is your gun as precious as your dick? Is your gun as precious as your brain? Is your gun as precious as your family? Because if it's as precious, then clearly you got to choose one or the other. You can't have it both ways. You want to know why? Because you either love your guns so much that you fuck over your family in the process because of the amount of guns that you want to have, or you choose your family and live a life without guns. But you guys can't possibly imagine that. Look at me, I don't even have a fucking firearm. But I know ways to kill somebody without one, even if they do have one. Many, because I am trained. What if we trained everybody in America just like everybody in Sweden is being trained for melee, like hand-to-hand combat and stuff like that, and actually understanding how firearms work and being able to take them apart and rebuild them in a matter of seconds? I like Swedish people. They're the one country you don't want to fuck with because 1, everybody has a gun. 2, they have a holiday where they can drink alcohol and shoot with guns. 3, they're so accurate with their guns that they shoot over live and active highways where people are driving from one location to another due to the fact that they're very, very unlikely to shoot somebody. They have a 0.02% crime rate, and the crime rate that they have is usually heavy amounts of petty theft, which is their 2%. And that's basically it. They don't have physical assault crimes as much, because they're all trained about psychology and how to understand each other and how to diffuse situations that involve psychological health. You know what our cops are not trained to do? Everything I just mentioned. You know what the Republicans don't understand? Everything I just mentioned. You want to know what the Democrats don't understand? Everything I just mentioned. You want to know why I mostly focus on Republicans to any Republican, or conservative type viewers? It's because of the fact that right now in America they're the ones that are causing most of the problems. The Democrats are helping and aiding them assisting them in causing the problems, but the way that they're doing that is not by taking care of the problem that is clearly there, because they're getting profit out of it as well. No different than the Republicans, except they might have a slight bit more of a heart than the Republicans do. That's the only difference between Democrats and Republicans, when it comes down to political leaders specifically. The people, they're rather the same, except Republicans are usually more uneducated. And because they're Christian, they're manipulated into a lot of beliefs that aren't actually accurate to their own book. I hate to say this, but to any of you Christian viewers, I'm not nihilistic. Which, in case if you don't know, nihilism is a form of hate towards religion, or any form of religious people. I'm not nihilistic in any way. Besides the fact that religion is causing people to become stupid, and religion is also causing more problems than it ever will solve. Religion has a lot of good things for it. But a lot of things that happen in religion are too terrible. So I don't know if you guys remember, but I'd say almost a year ago at this point, yeah, like 3 months ago at the beginning of this year, there was a video that popped up all over the internet, and it was Ukrainian people that lost their families and had been repetitively bombed by the Russians, sitting there against this long glass window. And against this long glass window, you see children and stuff like that crying, and you see families upset and being, literally having themselves torn apart. And there's a couple of Christians, 4 of them, that are sitting there with their guitar going, da-na-na-na, God is good, love God, you better love God, he loves you all. God just made the Russians hit the Ukrainian families with big-ass bombs. I don't think God likes Ukrainians. And if God exists, he doesn't like me. He doesn't like you. He doesn't like the Christians. He don't like the Catholics. He's in for himself. I read the Bible a lot, and I will tell you this right now. God is a petty, and I mean a big-ass, baby-ass, petty motherfucker, okay? If your book is accurate, you need to realize God wiped out an entire species because they didn't believe in him. That's his fault for making us not believe in him, if he's the one who's making us have the thoughts we do. Which is what your book says. There's a reason for every action committed. That's because God has a plan, right? Well, then why does God plan on bombing civilians or making school shootings in America happen consistently? Oh, do you want to know why? To make y'all motherfuckers realize that you don't need the guns. But you know what's funny? You're not going to realize that because you believe it's a God-given right to have a firearm. Okay, well, if it's a God-given right to have a firearm, it's not a God-given right to shoot somebody innocent. And it's a God-given right to have control on those firearms. Because we need it. It's not an option. We have to have it, or shootings will be more consistent. And if they have gone up, like I've been able to see, the 62% that I do believe that they're still going up as of recently, then we're going to have a severe problem in the next 2 years. Shootings, school shootings, will be one of the most common forms of shooting. There's been 228 mass shootings throughout my entire lifetime so far in the last 4 years. There's been over 1,000 school shootings for my entire existence. Not school shootings, sorry. Just shootings, mass shootings in general. And a mass shooting is described as more than 4 people being shot and killed. Shot or killed by the shooter. So, a lot of mass shootings have happened. A lot of it has happened because of nihilistic people or anti-Muslim people or anti-Christian people. A lot of it has happened because of Republicans. Now, I mention this because if you look closely, most of even the school shooters are kids. Specifically, school shooters tend to be kids, actually. Do you want to know why? Because they don't have background checks, because they're children. They're not believed that they can do something horrible. The guy who did the school shooting, if I remember correctly, he did do some criminal activity. I think he tried to break into a car once and got caught. Although I don't remember how accurate that is, I do remember reading up on it, though. And if that's how that kid was, then yeah, he had done something fucked up, and there was clear signs that he was probably going to hurt somebody in the future due to the lack of psychological attention and physical attention he was getting towards him. His parents probably couldn't have helped, but what caused that kid to snap and shoot up an elementary school? I don't fucking know. I don't think I can answer that, as I'm not the one who wanted to shoot up a school. The problem that I'm having with this, well, there's a lot of them, obviously, but one of the main problems is the Republicans believing that good guys with guns are going to save and kill the bad guys with guns. No, they're not. You want to know why? You remember all those cops that were standing out of the school, or outside of the school, right? All 40 of them? You know what they're waiting for? Border Patrol agents! And guess what? When they arrived, they still waited 30 minutes to go in. And then when they did go in, they baited a kid into his death. A child. Under 10 years old. There was little kids covering themselves up in their friends' blood because of the fact that they had to watch their friends die. And in order to keep themselves alive, they had to do it to make themselves look like they were dead too. They're lucky the school shooter was not smart enough to realize, oh, that was not a dead body sitting right there, and the only reason why they're covered in blood is because they're trying to hide. Do you really want to have that conversation with your kids? Any parent listening, do you really want to have that conversation with your kids? All right, so when you go to school, here's all the exits, and after all of these exits, so here's what the school shooter's most likely going to go into, this door and this door here. So the school shooter, when he does kill your friends and family next to you, you know what you have to do? Cover yourself in their blood. You should not have to tell your kids that. Why is that normal for America? I'll tell you why. The NRA and Republicans defending guns so hardcore. So I'll tell you this, with all disrespect, fuck Democrats and fuck Republicans. Specifically fuck Republicans, but definitely fuck the Democrats too, as they're big-ass, baby-ass bitches who don't want to take care of a problem that clearly needs to be taken care of. Now, the reason why I invest myself into the world of politics is because I know how stupid it is. How many people actually are in politics, and the reason why laws even change in the first place is because of the people into the politics. Now I'll let you know. Absolutely zero politicians are in it for us. The only ones that are there is Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, and the gay couple, that both of the judges, I want to call them that instead of booty judges, or both of the booties, because that would just be awkward. But, so, Pete and his husband, Buttigieg, alright? We got Bernie Sanders, we got AOC, and guess who we don't have? Well, that's basically it. That's literally it, actually. I don't think I can... what is her name? Peter Dowsey keeps trying to, question her and be a dick to her whenever it comes down to questions. I don't remember her name, but some of you guys will know who I'm talking about. She's ginger. She's obviously white, but yeah, woman. Um, was it Jen Psaki? Was that her name? I think it was, but I'm not going to say that's 100% true because I'm questioning it right now in front of the camera. But yeah, so with all that out of the way, the next thing I want to see is, again, I'm asking you to share this video, not because I want views, but because I need the views to spread the information. Again, I'm not going to monetize my YouTube channel, at least this one here, so you guys do know that I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for you, all of you watching. Regardless if you agree or disagree with me, like or dislike me, I'm here for you. The issue that I have is the difference between people who dislike me and tend to watch me and the people who tend to harass me and tend to watch me. There's a big difference between those two. Just like how there's a big difference between a good guy with a gun and a bad guy with a gun. Except again, there was a lot of there was one bad guy with a gun who was 18 wearing body armor, right? All the other officers had weapons that were firing 5.56 and decided to still not go in. There was 40 of them. And they did not push. They did not do anything. For an entire hour. There's supposed to be a law after the Columbine shooting that anytime you hear a school shooting incident, you have to move in immediately and engage. That is literally what the law basically says, almost word for word. You know what they didn't do? That at all. They wait. They claim it's a hostage situation because they stopped hearing bullets, even though there was little kids calling the police saying we need help while there was gunshots in the background of every single one of their phone calls. They still were saying, oh, it was a hostage situation. It was a barricaded hostage situation. No, it was not. No, it was not. Get the fuck in there, you pussy bitches. You signed up for this job. You signed up to get shot at. So stop being a little bitch. You're the one wearing 9mm resistant armor. I understand that he's firing a weapon that is capable of one-shotting you, but you need to keep in mind, every gun can one-shot. So aim for the fucking head. Get trained on how to shoot better. Clearly, if you guys are worrying about your lives being in danger, then you're pussies and you guys should be removed from the police force. You shouldn't have signed up for a job that requires you to get shot at for a living. My question is now, what the fuck is wrong with you cops? What the fuck? Seriously. Almost 40 of you outside of a building with one active shooter who has a maximum of 5 magazines for each weapon that they had. You guys could have gone in like that and taken him out. Especially when he walked onto the outside of the school campus. The necessary precautions that are supposed to be taken aren't being taken because I agree with what Sank said on TYT. The Young Turks, by the way. All cops are cowards. ACAB, ACAC, and ACAL. All cops are lazy. All cops are bastards. All cops are cowards. They're pussy bitches who want to harm people, but want to do it whenever they want to and not have to worry about themselves getting harmed. Which is why you see most of the time whenever a cop is brutalizing somebody, it's somebody who hasn't had a gun. There was another video that I saw recently that was recorded 2 years ago, and all the officers from it still didn't get charged. I know that because they're sheriffs, and that's usually how sheriff departments go. But etc. There was a kid. He was a little older than me. I think he was 19 if I remember correctly. He might have been 18 turning 19, but he was 19. And he stole a car, and he raced away from the cops in it. He hit a traffic light. Or was it a telephone pole? I couldn't tell because the camera angle was not aimed up that high. But I'm pretty sure it was a telephone pole. He hit the pole, a wooden one. The pole snapped. He flipped his car like this. He hit the pole and he went wham, slammed onto the ground. And with himself being mostly unconscious, he was already on the way to get out of the car to surrender. And the officers beat the shit out of him, put him in handcuffs, and while he was laying face first on the ground, were stomping on him and kicking the fuck out of him, breaking every bone in his body that they could possibly do, while the only officers who seemed like they were distressed from the situation were laying back on their backs staring at the sky, literally on the same ground that the kid was getting his ass beat on. Now, If I saw that in real life, I would be glad to have a gun. Because then all those cops would be dead, and I would call in more cops to probably kill them too. Just kidding about that end part. I wouldn't kill more of them, I would kill only the officers that are literally doing a crime. Because as a cop, you have a sworn oath to not do this kind of shit. And if you're going to break that oath while you're breaking a kid's body, I'm going to make sure you take a couple of caps in between your ass cheeks. Okay? I'm going to put more holes in your body than you naturally come with. Okay? If I see a cop on the street, even a Grand Junction cop, that starts beating up a Hispanic person, I'll jump up and stick a knife in their throat. I really hate horrible people. I won't let horrible people win. Because people like my pedophilic, abusive, rapist father are the kind of people that these people tend to be. Yeah, not all of them rape people. Not all of them are misogynistic. Not all of them are pedophiles. But a lot of them like to hurt people. And out of those ones that like to hurt people, there's a good portion of them. They tend to be in like all the criminal cop gangs and stuff like that, whether they're sheriff or cop or not. And I also want to mention this. Again, with the all cops are cowards, I do stand on very, very hardcore with the fact that all cops are bastards. I don't think I've seen a kind-hearted cop in a very long time. The only recent example I can think of is when it wasn't a Lyft driver, it was not an Uber driver. I think it might have been Uber Eats. It was a food delivery service. It wasn't like Pizza Hut or something like that. It wasn't a private company delivery service. It was an actual delivery service where if you order food, then they'll bring it to you. I just don't remember who it was. They basically, the person who was driving the car got arrested because they had 2 outstanding warrants. Then, after they got arrested, the cop was like, all right, I'm going to bring the food to the person that this owns. Hey, driver, can you get in the back of my car? I'm going to finish your delivery for you. And he finished the delivery. That was the last time I've seen a good cop. And that's sad. Because I used to think I was in a town full of them. No. I do stand on the fact that all cops are bastards and cowards. A cabalc. ACABLC. Because all cops are bastards, liars, lazy, and cowards. Now, I'm going to move on from the cops and go back to the politicians. Okay. So, there's a lot of politicians, okay? But the one that I'm going to keep focusing on in this video is Ted Cruz. Because he is the cause of a lot of problems. Same with Ron DeSantis. By the way, Ron, you're about to be the reason why so many school shootings happen as well. Here's why. Now, you've effectively stopped teachers from helping a kid who is going to be jumped at the end of a school day because of their sexuality. Let's say there's a kid in your school who is gay, and you know that they're gay just by looking at them. You know, they talk gay, they walk the talk, literally, and you don't like them. So you decide to grab a big group of your friends, at least 8 of your friends, to beat the fuck out of that gay person at the end of the school day. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to be able to beat the fuck out of the kid at the end of the school day. Now guess what that kid's going to do if they're mentally disabled enough? Grab a fucking gun and hunt for those kids. You know why the Columbine shooting happened? Because of those 2 kids being bullied and them stop liking kids, and, you know, with all the bullying and nobody helping them, they decided to take matters into their own hands. You yourself, Ron DeSantis and Ted Cruz, are going to cause so many kids to want to take it into their own hands that more and more kids will be shooting kids. You're fucked up in the head, both of you. You do deserve to kill yourself because it will benefit humanity. It will benefit humanity. It will not benefit humanity. It will benefit humanity. Here's how. 2 less people protecting guns. 2 less people protecting school shooters. 2 less people making it active for school shooters to be able to actually get into a position of shooting up a school easier, which allows us to pass 2 more laws getting rid of these kinds of people. You know what's not going to happen? Any of that. Because in their minds, it's not what needs to happen. They need to have 1 entrance and 1 exit. And that's it. But going back to the Ron DeSantis comment I was making earlier, that one kid that was gay could have talked to a teacher and said, hey, can you walk with me off of school campus because I'm gay and these kids want to beat me up for that reason? Did you know that a lot of times that kids get jumped by a multiple big group of kids, the kids don't stop until a kid is bloody on the ground? And a lot of kids have accidentally killed people doing that. And that's because of you guys. Because of the Republican Party specifically. It's very sad to say the entire party is causing this problem, but the entire party is. Regardless if they're good Republicans or damned horrible Republicans. If you're in the party that is causing the problems, and you're still going to sit aside with the party and only vote that party, despite them causing all the problems, and you see that yourself, you are also attributing or contributing to a problem. No, you don't deserve genocide because you're more innocent, but you're not making it look good for yourself. And it doesn't really matter about the looks. It matters about what's actually happening, which is these people making loopholes in our laws for white supremacists to become school shooters and target black schools or supermarkets or etc. Or religious schools and supermarkets or etc. I bet you right now, if there was a black kid who wanted to shoot up a Christian university, they would do it and immediately get fired and sued, and they would get shot to death. If there was a white kid, oh, he could put his hands up behind his back and tell the officers, oh, I surrender now, I surrender, and then get up, turn around with the same AR-15 and kill everybody that is cops, and a few more officers would come up, and then he would finally get arrested. Not killed, arrested, because he would surrender. Because he ran out of ammo. The difference between interactions from the races obviously shows the racism between the departments. Not just that. There is an exceeding amount of crime. Keep that in mind. These officers think black people are the cause of it, but that's not because they know that. It's because of what they're taught from when they're kids. Most of these officers are in their 30s and 40s, and most of these kinds of officers tend to be extremely racist because most of the officers that have their parents were also racist. Incredibly. So when it comes down to the talk of psychology, I don't want you Republicans using the word psychology anymore because you either don't know what it means or you're taking advantage of the word. You don't give a damn about psychological health care. Because if you did, then it wouldn't be $80 a fucking hour for psychological health care. I'm not paying $160 for 2 hours of something I need to do for myself and have no option to do but to do. I have to help my psychological state. Otherwise, I'm probably going to hurt somebody. But you people are making it actually impossible for me to get that mental health care due to the fact that I'm broke as fuck. My family's very low on the mid-class scale. In fact, we're so low that we're directly on the line of being dirt poor and slightly middle class. Here's the bars, right? We're right here. Just right here. Barely hanging on by a goddamn thread. My mom has 5 kids, including myself. And her boyfriend have to work hours of their day to pay off all of the bills all 5 of us create. Water, electricity, the Wi-Fi. But guess what we can't pay like ever? The electricity and the Wi-Fi. Do you know why? Or the electricity and the water. Why did I say Wi-Fi? Do you want to know why? Because they go up to the $1,000 range because of how many of us inside of our house tend to use those things to be able to give ourselves entertainment or take showers. Plus, it doesn't help that there's 5 people that have to drink 2 liters of water almost every day. And yeah, maybe we don't do it every day, but it's still enough water being used up that it's really fucking expensive. We have to pay almost $2,000 of bills a month. Plus, and to a lot of you guys watching this, that does not seem like a lot, actually. But it is for a family like me. It doesn't help that the person who raped and abused all of my family members who are children and my adult mother, He's allowed to get away with this, and he's not paying any kind of bill for us. He's not helping us with child care at all. $14 is all he's ever given us, despite him taking away 40 years of our lives. The next video that I'm going to make is all about the loopholes within our government and our political system in general. Hopefully you guys will like that one as much as you like this one, or even if you didn't like this one, that's fine. Like or dislike the video depending on how you feel. Tell me in the comment section below the reason why you're doing so. Salutations to all, and may you find peace in the domain.